Hi, everybody. So, if you are someone who follows me because I've been in Nashville for a while, I do have a Middle Tennessee specific forecast if you want to go check it out. But if you're, anywhere else in the US, I want to talk about a few rounds of wintry weather that are heading our way, and we're going to be looking at ice, and that is the most annoying type of winter weather because it causes power outages, makes it really hard to drive and travel, and it's just can be a big deal, bigger than you might think. So let's go ahead and get right into the forecast. So first up, let's take a look at our winter weather warning. So we've got winter storm warning in pink, and this goes from, middle part of Texas into Oklahoma, into Arkansas, into Missouri. We've got an ice storm warning throughout Arkansas into West Tennessee. And then we have winter weather advisories in that light purple that stretch from Texas all the way to West Virginia. So this is going to be quite the storm. So what happened was we had a very powerful Arctic front push south, bringing cold enough temperatures that when it meets up with that warm Gulf air that's coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, there's plenty of moisture to work with. It's just a recipe for an ice storm, and that's what we're seeing. So here's today, and notice, there's already quite a bit going on. We've had a lot of sleet today in that orange color in Oklahoma. Tulsa even had thunder sleet, so did Oklahoma City. It was pretty impressive this morning. But we've got some freezing rain around the central Texas in the Dallas metro, Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex, and then, moving into Arkansas tonight into tomorrow morning. This is kind of round one. And you can see this stretches up through Nashville into Kentucky. So Bowling Green included in this. And you got some snow on the backside. You got some sleet there in that orange. But the big story is just the freezing rain. And that's certainly going to cause the most trouble. So this continues, and then you get a break, and then you get round two. Look at that. Into Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And, this continues in Texas, even into Thursday. So I think Texas is likely going to be one of the big winners in terms of how much we see. But let's get a closer look. We're going to go through this again, and we're going to get a closer look at the south central region right there, just so I can give you a better view of how this is shaping up. So this is round one happening right now. Lots of sleet going to be pushing into Missouri and Arkansas. Some of the bigger cities that are going to be dealing with all this ice, Dallas, Fort Worth, we're going to see some in and around Little Rock, but also Memphis, Tennessee, going to see some dangerous ice accumulations with this. So you see that continuing, and then you get round two Tuesday into Wednesday morning. And some of this lingers even into late Wednesday and Thursday in Texas. So we'll likely see warnings extended in those areas. So how much ice are we going to see? Well, you can see there's some bullseyes here. This is the national blend of models. I think that this is a good middle ground. Some models, like the Canadian, are making it look like Ice-ageddon. It's kind of ridiculous, but I think this is a good middle ground. Some models are, a little bit bullish with the ice, others not so much, but it just depends on which one you're looking at. I think this is a good middle ground and kind of more realistic. Once you get to 1/10 of an inch of ice accumulation or more, that's usually when you start to see some power outages and travel really running into trouble. And even just a glaze, a couple hundredths of an inch of ice can ruin your commute and cause you to slide off the road. So keep that in mind. You need to check road conditions before heading out tomorrow morning on that morning commute, even the afternoon commute, depending on where you're at, and of course Wednesday morning as well, even into Thursday for some folks. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and kind of look through. So through tomorrow morning, you can see 1/10 of an inch or more, maybe even up to 2/10 around the Memphis area into Little Rock, and then maybe not quite as much in Texas. Now, I do think that might be underdoing it a little bit. I think that you might see maybe up to 1/10 of an inch in Texas. And then things really get going with that second round, Wednesday night into Thursday. And that's when we see about 1/4 of an inch or more in, parts of Texas, central Texas, kind of the heart of Texas, Waco, up through Dallas, and then west, it looks like in the Midland, in those areas. So that's a lot of ice. So that's what we're watching for. We've got all these warnings, we've got these advisories in effect. And here is this is from the Weather Prediction Center. This is kind of a good sort of, I would say, summary of what's going to be happening. And notice there's a lot of flood warnings And, East Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, even into Southwest Alabama, there's been a ton of rain there. You're still going to stay wet in the South, but it's the freezing rain that's a big issue. And you can see that this stretches, from central Texas up into Little Rock, into Memphis. I think, around Dallas, Fort Worth, and areas to the south and west of that, and then up into, Little Rock and Memphis are probably going to have the hardest times with this. So please stay weather aware. Notice it says ice accumulations greater than 1/4 of an inch are likely and might be as high as 1/2 inch or more in some spots. So if you see 1/2 inch of ice, it's going to be a few days possibly without power. So that's something you got to prepare for. Numerous power outages possible. Travel will become hazardous. So really it's kind of, I would say, in terms of big population centers, Dallas, Fort Worth, Little Rock, Memphis, if you're kind of anywhere near those areas, please be alert. Power outages that you got to prepare for. Have some non-perishable food, have warm clothes, just have a little plan in place, and just remember that you're probably not going to be able to drive for a day or two, depending on how much freezing rain you see. And even sleet too can cause some troubles, especially when it's really building up like it did earlier today in Oklahoma. So please stay weather aware through at least the next couple of days. Check your local forecast and make sure that you are checking driving conditions before you head out on the road, if you do at all, which I would suggest not doing. So that's a quick look at your forecast. Please stay safe in the next few days. Just stay prepared. This isn't necessarily going to be historic for most people, but if you get that 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch or more of ice, it's really going to, cause some big issues for a couple days in terms of power outages and, just having trouble driving. It'll be a while before you can get back on the roads. So keep that in mind. That's enough ice to really down those trees. So just prepare for a couple days or more without power. Have some non-perishable foods. And I think we did a good job of covering, the areas that are most likely to see this action. Just remember though, the forecast can shift. So please stay alert and keep it here, guys. I hope you have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Talk to y'all later.